there, so I'm going to do a quick video on New Year's resolutions and why I never... Whoa. Oh wow, that is a nice car. What is it with nice cars today? There's just so many really nice old school cars just driving around and they look really pretty. Is it some like old school nice car day or something that no one told me about? I want to make a quick video on New Year's resolutions and why I don't make them. For a while, every year, I would make them. And I'd write them in my journal, and I'd have, 5 or so of them, sometimes 10. It's ridiculous how many I used to get. And then I pretty much promptly forget about them. Maybe remember 3 of them, and then I'd forget the rest, and it wasn't unless I looked back that I noticed that they existed. I also didn't really put in that much effort in achieving them, which is really stupid. So what I've realised the last few years is that New Year's resolutions are not my thing. Making resolutions are not my thing, and it's not something that I can do or stick to. Mostly because they're wishy-washy. They mean nothing. New Year's resolutions mean nothing. And I'm not saying that about other people. Like, if you have your resolutions and you're good at sticking to them and you're good at making them and keeping them and everything, and you really believe that that's the way you can change and that's something you want to do, that's completely fine. But for me, and the way I think and the way I behave, making a resolution means nothing. There is no accountability there, there's no plan, there's nothing. So I would write them down and then forget them and not bother with them at all. So for me it was useless, and I still think that for me New Year's resolutions are useless and they mean nothing. However, what I have noticed, or not probably the last couple of years, is the only things that I am actually able to achieve that are similar to resolutions are actually very, oddly enough, they're very vague. They have no real actionable goals. They are literally just statements with no accountability attached. And the only difference is they probably mean something. They're not just, get fit. Not saying that getting fit isn't a reasonable resolution, but the words get fit don't mean anything to me. So for me, I've noticed that what works best for me, and it's really something I do, and if you guys want to take it on yourselves, go ahead, 100%. I am not going to stop you. In fact, I'm going to totally encourage you, and if you decide you want to do this as well, comments below, let me know what yours are. But I essentially decide 2 main things. The first one being something that I have been doing for years, so it's mostly habit that I still do. But I essentially go, right, this year I'm going to beat that record of mine, which is my how many books I can read in a year. Now, if any of you are familiar with my Tumblr, you will see at the top of my blog, it'll say my record and what year I beat that record. So I think it might have been 2013? I'm not 100% sure, but it was one of those years, I think, 2013 maybe, that I did actually beat my record, which I had held since 2005 or something like that. So there are big gaps between being able to beat those records. So that's something that every year I'm like, I'm going to beat that record, so I'm going to read more books. And I usually don't beat it by much more than 1, but I'm going to read more books, I'm going to beat that record. I mean, that was essentially why I started this channel in the first place, and to review books, was to give me an excuse and a reason to read more books. Yeah, so I always tell myself that, and that's something that every year, start of the year, I'm like, right, gonna do better this year. Did really poorly last year, or almost got there last year, or got halfway there last year. Keep going. And each year I'm like, I'm gonna do better, I'm gonna do better. So that's something that's like a continuous improvement thing, of a goal that I constantly want to reach. And even if I reach it, so say this year I break that record, even if it's by one book, the next year I'll be like, right, let's beat that. Let's read more than last year. Let's read more than last year. And it's just one of those continuous improvement things. So that's something that I recommend, is like a continuous improvement thing. So it's not a goal of, you know, you have to do it this year, and if you could break it within the first 3 days. It's literally a year-long thing. The second one is, I like to call it the year of blank. I started doing this probably last year when I got my journal. That time it wasn't a bullet journal, but it was just an ordinary journal, and I'd seen a video, I think it was Carrie Hope Fletcher had started a bullet journal or something at the start of the year, and she put like a word, I think, in the front of hers and did a nice little artwork there saying that like she wanted to concentrate on that, and that was something she wanted to remember and think about for the year, and that was something, you know, and so it was just one word, and I thought that was really interesting. And so for me, I decided that was going to be my year of hope, and I started sticking quotes in the front of that journal, and I started putting pictures and things of hope. In fact, I actually have that journal right here right now. For me and some of my friends when I was in school, dragonflies symbolized hope, and it still does symbolize hope. So I ended up writing a whole pile of, if you can see them there, so I made a little dragonfly in a diamond and wrote hope on it. I also have some quotes here that I liked, that I found, and some quotes up here as well that I like and found. So that was something I've done. Still have a little bit more of it to go, so it was a little bit more than a year, but I think that's pretty good. So yeah, I decided that 2016 would be the year of hope for me. And so this year, I've decided that this year is the year of, I can't think of any nice way to put it than not putting up with other people's shit. And that includes my own. I'm not going to take anyone's shit anymore, really. I'm not going to put up with people treating me badly, for whatever reason. I'm not going to put up with, or at least let it get to me, the way people treat me, or have treated me, and I'm kind of gonna live my life in a way that I'm not gonna let people walk over me and use me and treat me really badly, and I'm done with dealing with that. I am done with the sleepless nights and the annoying, and being annoyed by it, and I'm done with being upset by it and stressed and paranoid and twitchy, I guess, jumpy, and you know, and worrying that little things mean people are angry with me or not. And I know that's something that's going to take a lot of learning to do, because for me, something as simple as putting a pan down on the bench a little too hard, or shutting a door a little bit too hard, which is really funny because in this house you kind of can't not slam doors the way they're designed. They shut with a loud thunk, so you kind of, there's no quiet way to shut a door around here. But I always kind of feel like that is an indication that someone is silently fuming at me. And so I think I need to firstly get over that too, but also for those people that are actually being rude or vindictive or malicious or spiteful, I'm just not going to put up with it anymore. I'm not going to just let them treat me like that anymore. If they want to treat me like that, well, they're not going to be a high priority anymore. I'm not going to, you know, bite their heads off or anything. I'm going to be the better person. But that doesn't mean I'm going to let them walk all over me. And so that's my thing for this year. And part of that as well is not putting up with the kinds of things that I have let myself get away with. So certain things, like recently I had an epiphany about my lifestyle and my behaviour, and I kind of realised it's not enough to not do the bad things. That doesn't make you good. I mean, yeah, it makes you better, like, especially if you're tempted. You're like, oh, very tempted to, do a bad thing, I don't know, steal a car or whatever. It's not enough to be tempted and then not give in to the temptation. I mean, yeah, that makes you a better person than someone who never, ever even considers it. But that still doesn't make me a good person. It just makes me a normal person, like a neutral level person, like a non-crappy person. That doesn't make me a good person. I have to actively be good in order to be a good person. So I've literally decided I'm going to stop being the kind of person that just sits back and figures I'm not doing the bad thing, so it's all okay. There are injustices happening in the world, and if I just sit by and do nothing, or sit by and say, hey, I'm not the one doing it, I've cleaned my hands of that situation, I've washed my hands of that, and, step back, that's not being a good person, and that's not fixing the problem. So that's part of that. Let's see how that goes. I've got a lot going on in that department. It's going to be really interesting and really interesting to see how that works out with my values, because while probably the biggest one I can think of off the top of my head, or the two biggest ones, are veganism and fair trade, I guess, is the best word I have for it. They are and food wastage, probably they're the big three big things that I kind of want to focus on this year, personally. Yeah, so the three most important, as I mentioned, being veganism, fair trade, and food wastage. It's essentially making sure my actions are aligned with what I believe, and that I am also actively working towards fixing those problems. The big one with veganism is that, yeah, I'm vegan. I live a lifestyle that avoids animal products as best as I can. I'm actually going to make a video about veganism and who I am as a person, because they are very linked, and there's a lot to discuss there, because I'm not quite your standard vegan, garden variety vegan, and fair trade as well. I feel like my behaviour and my lifestyle doesn't quite match up with those values of, it's not fair for people in countries where the minimum wage, or there is no minimum wage, or the minimum wage is abysmally low, to be making clothes or products or any kind of consumable that I will purchase, and risk their health, their survival, just so I can get a cheap shirt or a cheap pair of shoes or something like that. So I'm going to be looking into a lot of my behaviour and how I live my life, and see what changes I can make to align that lifestyle to my values. So I guess that's really the point to these resolutions, and that kind of got a bit, this video got a bit long, But the point is essentially that I don't make resolutions. I don't specifically say I'm going to get fit. I'm gonna make X number of videos a week. I'm not giving, while they sound like specific goals and I should put actionable plans towards them, what I'm doing now is using them as a tool to keep myself accountable, along with other people as well, which is good, because I actually have workmates who have been really nice, and I've mentioned these goals to them, and they've said, well, if you want, I can help you keep you accountable for these goals, and check in with you every week to see that you're actually achieving them, and see what you're doing each week to achieve them, which is great. And I'm hoping that I can document some of that with videos and things like that, and I'm hoping that I can make more videos, but it's not a resolution, so I'm not going to make promises that I don't know if I can keep or not. But for sure, I'm going to work towards reaching those two main goals, which was reading the book, so beating that record of 57 books, I believe it is, and also to make this year the year that I don't put up with any crap, including my own. So let's see how that goes, and it's really exciting, and I'm super excited to do this. Maybe I should put in there relearn how to speak English properly with correct grammar. But yeah, so those are my plans, and hopefully I'll be able to document them more, and talk about them more with you guys. And I'm super excited about all of that. So I will see you all soon.